crispy.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Figures in Action. And today I bring to you this beast of a dial. Man, it's so big that I have to actually like kind of move. I wish I had a little light on top of the camera. Alright, so let's see. Let's get into this one. Was contacted by someone who's actually gotten at least 2 other dials from me. Maybe a third one. I can't recall right this second. But he gets a dial from me like once a year. Like once a year he'll hit me up and be like, oh, you know, I want to get another one. I want to get something very different. You know, so I always try to do something different. So I know that the past ones I've done for him, I did this one that had like 3 different rooms and it was abandoned. There was like a tree coming through the window. I did another one, was an abandoned church with a steeple. So this is definitely a lot different because everything I've been giving him so far has kind of been, you know, abandoned, a little bit beat up. So he finally gets something that's a little cleaner. So he contacted me and he's like, this was not the easiest thing to navigate. He's like, man, I want like a hallway, like a room, but I also want like an outside so you can do graffiti on it. And I'm like, shit. Like, how do I go about this? This is gonna be interesting. So for a while, actually been bouncing it in my head and started this maybe, I don't know, cut it up maybe a week ago, magnetized it, kind of gave it, you know, just had it ready to go, stared at it for a little bit and went in. So let's go real quick through this. Those firecrackers, if you guys can hear them. I just saw a vehicle that had mad firecrackers in the back. Like, I guess he's selling them. But anyway, so here we go. This dial is, I just measured it with that yardstick before I started recording because I always mess that part up. It is 19 inches across that way. And then it is 22 inches that way. So it's a pretty big diorama. And let's go through some of the details of this diorama. And it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. So please forgive me, as I'm sure the camera is going to do some funky things. I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. But I wish myself luck on that one. Alright, so switch light back here. So I've done dials before where there's been long hallways. Like, this isn't new. And I actually did a 1/18 scale not too long ago where it was more of a laboratory type of situation. But I had a similar setup, kind of that L, but it also extended that way. So it was like a T setup. This is more like an L setup. Let me go first and foremost through the materials that I use so you guys are aware of what I use to make this dial. So first and foremost, this hardwood floor is actual hardwood. I had received a gift, and in the gift it was like a bin of like a bunch of dollhouse materials, and in it was like these pieces, but it was like scraps. It wasn't a whole solid thing. So literally, this is most of the wood. This is 90% of the wood that came in there, and somehow I made it work. One of the things I wish I would have had more wood, I would have done that line and continue it down instead of kind of breaking the wood there. Not that it looks bad, but I'm a stickler for stuff like that. So I would have done that, but I just didn't have enough wood to extend to this side. So that's cool. It still looks good, but I love it that it's that real, like, legit wood. So this is just glued down with a combination of tacky glue as well as hot glue. This here is actually foam sheet, but that has the sticky back. So this was originally, I don't know if you can see it there, it was kind of like a clover, like a brighter green, and I just threw that teal color over it. For this and this same color, I put some of that textured sand in there. So I like it that because I was able to add that texture, you can't see the factory lines that you normally see if you don't texture this out with, like, usually I use a little brick, but if you don't texture it out with brick and you just paint it, let's just say you just paint it, you'll see the little factory lines. So I love that those were covered up by having kind of that texture put into the paint. Did the same thing here. So it was, you know, it's funny because a lot of times you would, and I've said this before, these dials are so much more difficult because everything has to line up and be straight. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do that. So so that's the wood. We got the foam sheet. This is actually, you can see, you should be able to see kind of the texture of the wall. So this is actually scrapbooking paper. It's like a mint green of scrapbooking paper. This is balsa wood. This is just trim that I get from Home Depot. They come in like, they're like, dude, they're like 2 feet long, 3 feet long, I think. So that's that. Balsa wood around the door. The door does not open or close. Those are the little doorknobs. I know people always ask me, so I'm always making sure I have them on hand, or I try my best. This is what those knobs are. They're pretty much screw fasteners. That's what they're officially called. And I got these at Hobby Lobby. Actually, I got these at Hobby Lobby. So it came in a set like this. Usually it comes in a different type of set where it's 3 different or it's kind of split up differently. So to see it like this was kind of cool. So I got 2 packs of these. So those are those doorknobs. The doors don't open or close. They're permanent. The ceiling is just that skinny foam, just layered. So I just did this here and kind of gave it a little bit of a style to give it that Art Nouveau type of look. And then in between the 2 pieces of foam, skinny foam, I put vellum paper so it can be lit up from the top. The outside is, you know, basic foam. That window, man, this window was a bitch. This window is made from scratch. I mean, you can if you see it close enough, you can see it's made from scratch, and it's permanent. It won't open or close. But this is action figure packaging, balsa wood and basswood as well. So yeah, so it was tough because I had to kind of score some lines into the side of this basswood and kind of slide the action figure packaging in there, but it would pop out. Yo man, it was a pain in the butt. But I'm glad that I like to challenge myself with things like that. I could have probably bought a hobby store, or I could have gotten a window, a dollhouse window at the hobby store. Just decided to do it on my own. He wanted some graffiti, so you know, of course I put my graffiti up there, as well as my kids' names. I always try to, so that's Abo, Cito, and Ari. So my kids' names are there, and some other crewmates here as well. My boy Bug, ACBA Prez, my boy Savage G, who has one of the illest connections in the East Coast, action figure collection. My boy Rekfik from the crew, Soames from the crew, my boy Aware from the crew. So these are all people that I know personally. I just threw them up there. Threw in the hashtag Black Lives Matter. I try not to get too political when it comes to my hobby. I do have strong feelings on everything that's happening. I haven't really shared those feelings much, just because I'm kind of going through a bunch of stuff in my life. But I am still kind of bouncing it in my head, what's happening. The injustice is incredible. It is mind-boggling to me what's happening in this country. And if we would just all have listened to Colin Kaepernick, you know, not too long ago, we might have been in a different situation. By we, I don't mean we as individuals, but the people who kind of control this country, that have the power, that instantly went at that man because he was supposedly going at the U.S. military, when in reality what he was doing is trying to save the lives of his own people, of our people. We're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day, man. We're all related. We're all one energy under this universe. So wanted to throw a quick hashtag there with what's happening in this country. And then let me see. All right, so one of the things he wanted was a second room. And let me take out Bullseye, and I just wanted to put Bullseye there so you guys can get a perspective on the scale. So it's a good size. So instead of that door opening, what I did is I made it so you can remove or peel back this wall, and then bam, you have another room, or the living room, or a room. So the way I looked at it is that that door leads to another apartment that branches to the left. This door that was here leads to this apartment. This is the first room. That door branches off to the rest of the house. But you can see the window made from scratch. Had to be done this way just so that both sides are painted and both sides are going to be used. The amount of angles that you can use to take pictures in this dial is wild. So if I wanted to take pictures like this, I could, where you can show kind of that window and that door. if I wanted to take this wall off, and I won't do it because everything will start falling apart, I'll show some angles as I kind of go through this. So this is the secondary room, and there's nothing on the outside there, so it's just kind of the way it's presented. It's this way. All right, so, and then for it to be lit up, yeah, there we go. And then oh, what I did, the other thing I did, I had done a ceiling that didn't work on. I just came back to this. I've done this before. So because it is 2 layers, the way I set it up is for it to kind of fall into place. You know what I mean? So everything kind of falls, or it's supposed to. It has some weight on it, so it may not. But see, as you saw there, or you didn't because the camera was not. But yeah, so everything kind of falls into place, and what that does is it kind of lowers the ceiling a little bit, and it allows it to kind of cover some of the gaps in the corners and so forth. So put one bigger space for a light there, 2 spaces for a light there, and went that route. So I'm just going to remove these lights real quick so you guys can get a better idea of. And again, I apologize for... Alright, so this is the ceiling. So this is what I was telling you, how it kind of has those divots or whatever, so that it can fall into place here. And then as you can see, it you know, you put light, you can put varying degrees. It can be a little dimmer, a little brighter, whatever you want to do, but you have that vellum to do that. Now what I was saying earlier in terms of pictures is, for example, if I took out this wall here, you can still do something there. And if I put this guy back in, then now you have an option where you can shoot something that has 2 doors. Then I can put this wall back. Again, because it's magnetized, it's going to pop right into place. And if I removed this, I can do like an alleyway type, or not an alleyway, but like a hallway type of shot, a fight scene where I can kind of pan out this way. I can even take this wall off and do pictures like that, where you get now the window door that angle, or something where you're angling for both doors in that window. So yeah, man, lots of angles. I'm at the 12-minute mark, so I went a little bit over. Yeah, so and then I used foam here for like the rug, pretty much. And what else? FYI, Nathan Summers, aka Cable. And yeah, so everything's magnetized, and it is ready to go. Just need to take the video. I'm going to take a few shots right now and post this up on Instagram, and this video will eventually show up on YouTube. And 12 inches tall. That's the one thing I forgot to mention. Try to hide the seams as best as possible. These pieces of paper aren't that long, so I had to hide that seam. This hides the seam from the second wall there, and so forth. Alright, y'all, and I'm out. Be safe. Peace.